Hey, we'll wrap up our real estate series, moving on up with a look on how to improve your home's curb appeal. You know, we've heard that, the sayings that, first impressions count. Nowhere is that more true than when you're talking about curb appeal. Phil Sherrill knows all about it. He's a landscape architect with All Weather Landscape, and this morning he's here to critique the homes of some viewers who have sent in their pictures this morning. Good morning, and thanks so much for coming in.
Good morning.
All right, let's get right to it. This is our first pictures this morning are from Tracy and John from Orangeville, Ontario, and they say attached is a picture of the side of the house as well as the front. Please, we need some advice here on how to make this better. Phil, what would you suggest to increase the curb appeal of this home in Orangeville?
Yeah, basically what we have here is probably something that was inherited by the homeowner from the builder. So you have some precast patio slabs kind of very leading from the driveway to the front door. So what we wanted to do is create a nicer sense of entry and remove those patio slabs, put in something nicer like a flagstone is always my first choice because it's the most natural looking, and it will really enhance that front entrance. So we widened the walkway, created a nicer sense of entry into the front door, created a pillar at the end of the walkway, and of course created a garden and softened up all the hard landscaping with planting.
How much would that transformation cost, do you think?
Well, probably, depending on how it's done, you're probably looking at something in the $4,000 to $7,000 range, depending on how it's done. There are varying types of products that can be used. You've got some precast materials, you've got natural stone materials, and so there's variances in prices.
And to $4,000 to $7,000, you think that the homeowners will recoup that cost in terms of just curb appeal?
I think anybody in the real estate business, I think, would tell you that. There's great value in landscaping, and I think it will increase the value of the home.
Yeah, and there's the side look at that same home. Let's move on to our next home.
This is from David and Louise.
Oh, I'm sorry, before we do that.
Sorry, yeah.
So there's your look at the side view, and you've done quite a bit of work there as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, just a stepping stone effect using the same material going to the back gate, some soft landscaping, some boulder placements just to kind of create a natural look, and some colorful plant material to kind of soften up that side.
When you said $4,000 to $7,000, you meant both of those looks there.
I think that would cover both sides.
Both
yes.
sides of the.
Yes.
Actually, that's pretty good value. Again, so let's try David and Louise from Melville from London, Ontario. They say they're in the process of trying to sell their house in London. They've been trying to do it privately for the last few weeks. They would really like it, Phil, if you could help them out. So here's a look at their place from David and Louise's in London. What do we have here?
Looks like nothing's been done on this particular home at all. So this is sort of an easy one in a way. I think what we wanted to do here is create some railings. And again, you know, this whole idea of a nicer sense of entry so you can see exactly where that front entrance is. We've created some banding around the outer perimeter of the driveway, and, you know, if the budget would permit, some nicer materials in the driveway.
What is that material you have there on the driveway?
Well, we're proposing a flagstone there. Again, that's always our first choice, something natural. But again, depending on budget, you could go to a precast material, which would be less expensive, and that would be something to consider, but it would fulfill the same design function.
And in terms of foliage, you've added a tree there and some beds?
At the back, just an evergreen that would create some height and give you a nice year-round look, and again, some banding around the outer perimeter of the garden areas just to give some definition and to highlight the plant material.
And there's so many homes like this in Ontario with the rise of the suburban developments. There's been so many. It's important to get your home to look a little different.
Yeah, absolutely, and every job is different. Every job is different, and different people have different tastes, so it's very important to look at each individual project and design it accordingly.
All right, we got one more to go quickly here before we check in on weather and traffic, and this is from Georgetown, Ontario. Graham and Nancy Thompson looking for some help with the front of their home.
Well, here we have a timber. This looks like this job has been in existence for quite some time. Nobody really uses timber anymore.
Very passé.
Well, it is, and it creates all kinds.
Of that myself.
Well, it creates problems, insect infestations and deterioration and things like that. So timber's not really used that much in the landscape anymore, other than, you know, structures and things like that. So what we proposed to do here was to remove that wood and do something in a hard material, either a brick to match the detailing on the home, or again, it could be a natural stone masonry wall, which is sort of creating a little bit of a planter effect, and then of course some enduring planting to soften everything.
How much would all that cost, Phil?
Well, again, depending on how it's done, you're probably looking at something in the, depending on how it's done, in the $3,000 to maybe even $8,000 range if you were to go with a natural stone. So I know it's a little vague, but depending on how things are done, you can have great variances in price.
Phil Sharl is is with the All Weather Landscape Company, rather. Now, stay with us, Phil, because you're going to hang around until after the break. We have a couple of more homes to go. We've been getting a lot of email throughout the week, people looking for some help. So stay with us. We appreciate your advice.
Well, if you're thinking of selling your home and you want to improve your curb appeal, we've got landscape architect Phil Sharl here with some great suggestions, and you've already critiqued some of our viewers' homes, given us some great before and afters, and we want to continue that. This is Kathy Sidno, and I hope I'm saying that right, Kathy, and we're not sure where she's from in Ontario, but she sent in this picture, which is a really cool frontage. What would you do here, Phil?
Well, basically, what I felt here, there's a lot of wood here, a huge front entrance, all constructed from wood. So we, trying to soften this up again, we felt that rather than rip everything out and kind of redo it, let's work with what's there and create some planters on the outer perimeters of that front entrance. And again, just do some really attractive planting and have some nice foliage covers, maybe some cascading plants coming over those planters, and even some urns like in front to give some floral display, seasonal floral displays.
Here's another view of the same house.
It's the same house in the front, huge, again, a huge, very wide driveway. And quite simply, let's just put some detailing into that driveway to kind of differentiate between the driveway and that front entrance. And again, sort of directing us and sort of giving us a feeling of where that entrance is. So again, we're proposing some flagstone at the end of the drive.
And I was asking you, can you get a company to just come in and say, well, here's the plan, and you do it yourself? Is that a way to do it to save on the cost of this?
Well, yeah, our firm designs and builds landscapes, but there are landscape architects from the Ontario Association of Landscape Architects and my association, Landscape Ontario. There are people who would just come and design, and then there are companies that would come and design and build your landscape.
And what would it cost for you just to get a plan, and then you do all the backbreaking labor yourself?
Concept plans for our firm, because I think it would vary depending on the company and their level of expertise. But our firm, generally speaking, a concept plan would start at somewhere in the $800 range.
We have two more homes, and these ones we don't have any of those fancy afterlooks, but we want to. These would come in late. This one is from
home.
Phil and Carol in Cambridge. What would you do here?
Well, this picture here, when I look at the front of this house, it's very difficult to tell where that front entrance is. Now, I assume that the garages are on that upper right-hand side. So, again, there's really no sense of entry here. So, I would like to, again, create some detailing in the driveway to kind of differentiate between where the driveway and front entrance is. And, again, highlight that hard landscaping with some planting to highlight the stonework.
And our last home this morning comes from Steve and Diane Dawson. This is near Hamilton in Carlisle. What would you do here? Well, other than get the baby buggy
out of the way
off of the...
We'd probably have to move that stroller, obviously, but again, I think it needs a wider entrance into the driveway, and I think some detailing into the driveway would be nice. Very flat front entrance, so again, create some levels with some planting and some variables with the shapes and configurations of the plants would be nice.
What about those two trees that sort of seem mismatched right on the other side of the front entrance?
Well, the one on the right doesn't seem too bad. I think that we might be able to work with that one. The one on the left seems like it's a little out of place as far as I'm concerned, and we would probably change that.
Bottom line, though, is the money that you spend on that curb appeal, on that front landscaping when you come to sell your house, your belief is that it pays back.
Absolutely. There's a big payback for that, because a lot of these pictures that you've seen this morning, very plain, really, no sense of entry, and I think some invested money into landscaping would definitely give you a return on the value of your home. There's no question.
Well, Phil Sharl, thank you so much for being here. It was a lot of fun to do those. And thanks, of course, to all our viewers who sent in their pictures. Now, unfortunately, we weren't able to get to all of them, but if you do have questions for Phil, you can check out his website at weatherlandscape.com. And again, thanks so much for being here, Phil.
Thank you.